Welcome to the lecture series on A02 Functional Grammar and Communication in English. In today's lecture, we discuss active voice and passive voice. This is lecture number 14 and this topic is from Module 2, Unit 5 of the coursework. Let us understand what we mean by active voice and passive voice. We have studied different types of sentences and kinds of sentences, and we know the word order of sentences. Normally, the word order of sentences in English is subject plus verb, or subject plus verb plus object, or subject plus verb plus indirect object plus direct object, or subject plus verb plus direct object plus indirect object. This is the normal word order or sentence structure. But in the case of active voice and passive voice, there is some change. That is, especially when we change sentences in active voice to passive voice, the basic sentence structure or word order undergoes a change. And there are many reasons for the change of word order in the passive construction. We will discuss the reason why we have passive pattern, passive voice, etc. as we go forward. Before that, we have to look at sentences in the active voice and passive voice. ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ വളരെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഗ്രാമറിലെ ഒരു ഏരിയ നമ്മൾ ഇന്ന് ചർച്ച ചെയ്യുന്നത് ആക്റ്റീവ് വോയിസ് ആൻഡ് പാസീവ് വോയിസ്. ചെറുപ്പം മുതൽ ഹൈസ്കൂൾ ക്ലാസ്സുകളിലും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഒരുപക്ഷെ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് മീഡിയം CBSE ICSE സിലബസിലൊക്കെ പഠിച്ച കുട്ടികൾക്ക് ഇത് നേരത്തെ തന്നെ അറിയാവുന്ന ഒരു ഏരിയയാണ്. പക്ഷേ എങ്കിൽ പോലും പലപ്പോഴും എക്സാമിനേഷന് കിട്ടുന്ന ആ ഒരു സെൻറ്റൻസ് നമുക്ക് കൺഫ്യൂഷൻ ഉണ്ടാക്കാം. അപ്പോൾ ഇന്ന് നമുക്ക് വളരെ വിശദമായിട്ട് എങ്ങനെയാണ് ആക്റ്റീവ് വോയിസിലുള്ള സെൻറ്റൻസിനെ പാസീവ് വോയിസിലേക്കും പാസീവ് വോയിസിലുള്ള ആക്റ്റീവ് വോയിസിലേക്ക് മാറ്റേണ്ടത്, അങ്ങനെ മാറ്റുമ്പോൾ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കേണ്ട വളരെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട കാര്യങ്ങൾ എന്തൊക്കെയാണ്. പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട കാര്യങ്ങൾ പ്രധാനമായിട്ടും വിവിധ ടെൻസ് ഫോംസ് വരുമ്പോൾ വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ടുള്ള ഓക്സിലറി വേർബ്സ് ആണ് നമ്മൾ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത്. അതിലുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കും. സോ ലെറ്റ് us understand more about the voice, active voice and passive voice. We have some examples here. Rama helps Hari. Rama helps Hari is the active voice, where you have Rama as the subject, helps as the verb, and Hari as the object. Rama helps Hari. This is the active voice. So here, in active voice, Rama is important. What Rama does is important. Rama's helping is important. Okay, but when we just change this sentence from the active voice to the passive voice, the sentence is written like Hari is helped by Rama. Hari is helped by Rama. Okay, so Hari becomes the most important segment or noun in this particular sentence. Hari is helped by Rama. So what happens is the object, the noun which has the position of the object in active voice, sentence in the active voice, takes the position of the subject in the passive voice, and we say Hari is helped by Rama. Here what happened? What's important is, okay, Hari is helped by somebody. Hari being helped, and Hari is important. Who is helping Hari? Or rather, who is helped? Hari is helped. Because Hari cannot do it himself. So Hari is helped, and the action is very important. So we go for such a transformation, such a change, because here the object in the active voice is taking the position of subject. In normal sentences, you have the first element, right? And that first element is the object of the active voice is becoming the subject of the passive voice. That's the position, okay? And we change the sentence, Rama helps Hari to, Hari is helped by Rama. And the second one, Sita loves Savitri. Same, this is simple present, this is simple present. Sita loves Savitri. Normal, subject, verb, object. So the object will be important in the passive voice, and we say Savitri is loved by Sita. Okay, Savitri is loved by Sita. Savitri is loved, that is important. Sita loves Savitri, here Sita and love. Sita loves is important. Sita loves Savitri is important. Here what happens is Savitri is loved, that is the fact, right? So Sita is not important, but Savitri is important. That is the very significance of this particular sentence, and the object of this particular sentence is becoming the subject, or rather the object of the sentence in the active voice takes the position of the subject in the sentence in the passive voice. Now we have some definitions and more details about the passive voice and active voice, rather more about voice. The passive voice is so called because the person or thing denoted by the subject is not active but passive. The person or thing, here you have the person, okay? The person or thing that denoted by the subject is not active. So in the passive here, Rama is active, Rama is important. But in the passive voice, Rama is just passive or not important. The object is, this is more important. The subject here is not very important. Okay, so this is the reason why when the object is becoming the most important element, and when that takes the position of the subject, okay, we can say that the real subject is passive. And when the real subject is passive, we call that construction passive voice. A sentence or a voice in which, a construction in which the real subject is just passive, not very important, but the object of the sentence in the active voice is more important. That is the reason why it is called passive voice. നമ്മൾ ആദ്യം നമുക്ക് ആക്റ്റീവ് വോയിസിൽ ഉള്ള ആ ഒരു വാചകത്തിലെ സബ്ജക്റ്റ്, പ്രവൃത്തി ചെയ്യുന്ന ആളാണ് പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ടത്. പക്ഷേ പാസീവ് വോയിസിലേക്ക് മാറ്റുമ്പോൾ ആ പ്രവൃത്തി ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾ അല്ല പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ആൾ. പ്രാധാന്യം ആർക്ക് എന്ത് സംഭവിക്കുന്നു, ഒബ്ജക്റ്റ്, ഈ ചെയ്യുന്ന പ്രവൃത്തിയുടെ ഫലം അനുഭവിക്കുന്ന ആൾക്ക് കൂടുതൽ പ്രാധാന്യം വരുന്നു. അയാൾക്ക് പ്രാധാന്യം കിട്ടുകയും അതിനകത്ത് പ്രവൃത്തി ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്ക് പ്രാധാന്യമില്ലാതാവുക, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അയാൾ പാസീവ് ആവുകയും ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഹി ഈസ് നോട്ട് ആക്റ്റീവ്. The doer of the action is not active. The object is active. The subject is passive. That is the reason why we call this passive voice. I think this is clear right now. The concept is clear. So, voice is that form of a verb which shows whether what is denoted by the subject does something or has something done to it. So, voice is that form of a verb which shows whether what is denoted by the subject does something or has something done to it. Subject എന്തെങ്കിലും ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആർക്ക്. Voice is that form of a verb which shows whether what is denoted by the subject does something. Subject എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നു, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഒന്നുകിൽ ആ ചെയ്യുന്ന പ്രവൃത്തി, the action is important, or has something done to it. Okay, what is done? That is important. So for example, the mason is building the wall. The mason is building the wall. The mason is building the wall. Subject, verb, wall, object. Okay, so the wall, okay, the wall is being built. The wall is being built by the mason. So what is important is the wall. Wall is being built by the mason. It will be noticed that when the verb is changed from the active voice to the passive voice, the object of the transitive verb in the active voice becomes the subject of the verb in the passive voice. So here the mason is the subject and the wall is the object, and the wall is becoming the subject of the sentence in the passive voice. Okay, and now we have to understand more about the rules and some special aspects of the very grammatic process called voice or transformation from active voice to passive voice, changing from active voice to passive voice. So let us understand. The active voice emphasizes the person or agent who performs an action. Rama is important, Sita is important, the mason is important. In short, the actor is important. The passive voice emphasizes the recipient of the action. Here, Hari is important, Savitri is important, the wall is important. So the recipient or the object is important in the passive voice. The passive voice emphasizes the recipient of the action or the action itself. Sometimes the action itself, like is loved. Somebody is loved. Loving just is important. Loving is important. So the action is important, or rather building is important. Building, okay, the construction, making it right, that's important. So maybe when the very action is important, when the recipient is important, we depend on, we use the passive voice. Alright? Now, we have certain contexts, which are the contexts in which we use the passive voice, rather the main reasons for the use of the passive voice. When the subject is unimportant, okay, sentences like hydrogen is prepared, or rather hydrochloric acid is kept on the stage or on the table, okay, alright. Who keeps it on the table is not important, whether this particular hydrogen peroxide is prepared or whether it is placed on the table is important. Okay, the thing is important, not the doer is important, right? So when the subject is unimportant or the object is more important than the subject, we use the passive voice. The patient was treated at the hospital. The patient was treated at the hospital because we know that the patient is treated by a doctor, so we don't have to say the doctor. The patient was treated at the hospital, right? So we don't have to specifically. Who does it is not important, whether something is done is important. The patient is cared for, is treated, and we have the passive construction there. When it is important to know who the subject is, okay? When it is not important to know who the subject is, when it is not important, ധാരാണ് ഈ പ്രവൃത്തി ചെയ്തത്, ഒരു കാര്യം നടക്കണം, കാര്യം നടന്നാൽ മതി, ആരാ ചെയ്തെന്നുള്ളത് ചെയ്തോ എന്നുള്ള ഒരു പ്രശ്നമേ അല്ല. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള കോണ്ടെക്സ്റ്റ് നമ്മൾ പാസീവ് വോയിസ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുക. ഉദാഹരണം പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ദ ബെൽ വാസ് റൺ, ദ ബെൽ വാസ് റൺ. ഓക്കെ, it could be the headmaster who rings the bell, it could be the peon who rings the bell, it could be a teacher, doesn't matter. The thing is whether the bell is rung or not. Now the bell was rung. Now that the bell is rung, you have the national anthem. Everybody rises for the national anthem. Okay, so the person who does the action is not important. The action is important, and we have the passive voice. Now we have the certain rules about the very transformation of active voice and passive voice. Say for example, we have the first thing is the subject of the sentence in the active voice. Sentence in the active voice will become, this subject will become object in the passive voice. Say for example, you can say, I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter. I is the subject. Letter is the object. And you will just change it into the passive voice like, a letter was written by me. A letter was written by me. So this is one of the important transformational change we have to remember. The subject in the active voice, you have the sentence in the active voice, and the subject of the sentence in the active voice will become the object, and the object will become the subject. So here, letter is the object, and that letter is becoming the subject of the sentence in the passive voice. Now, the next important thing we have to remember is the very verb pattern. Verb pattern is very important. So, in the passive voice, we will always have one of the forms of be. We have the auxiliary verb be, and be has different forms like are, is, are, then was, and were. Okay? Are, is, are, present tense. Was, past tense. Were, past tense. And are and were are used when you have plural subjects, plural nouns, and you have the next auxiliary verb is of course have and has. So you have or has. Similarly, you have the form of being as well. And different tense forms, you have different auxiliary verbs and different verbs. Anyway, in the passive voice, you will always use the third form of the verb, that is the V3. V3 is the present tense, the past tense, and the past participle form, like read, read, read. Then you have write, wrote, written. Chase, chased, chased. The cat chased the rat. The cat chased the rat. The rat was chased by the cat. So now we look at we are discussing the rules of transformation of active voice sentences to the passive voice. So first we have the subject becoming the object. Then you have the use of the auxiliary verb. Okay, auxiliary, the forms of be. Number 3 is we use the V3. V3, that is of course the past participle form. Past participle form of the verb. That's very important. And say for example, we will look at the examples. We have the cat chased the rat. You see, the cat chased the rat. The cat chased the rat. So here you have no auxiliary. This is the subject, this is the verb, this is the object. And now we have the rat, cat chased past tense, so it would be was, because the rat is singular and chased is past. The rat was chased by the cat. The rat was chased by the cat. The rat was chased by the cat. And now look at that. The subject is becoming the object. The object is becoming the subject. The form of the auxiliary verb was, and week 3, that is chased, okay. V1, V2, V3, present tense, past tense, past participle tense. So these are the general grammatic rules that govern the transformation of sentences in the active voice to the passive voice. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ കുറേ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ആക്റ്റീവ് വോയിസിൽ നിന്നും പാസീവ് വോയിസിലേക്ക് സെന്റൻസിനെ മാറ്റുമ്പോൾ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കേണ്ട കാര്യങ്ങൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കുകയുണ്ടായി. അതൊന്നുകൂടി നമുക്ക് സംഗ്രഹിക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ പറയാം. പാസീവ് വോയിസ് നമ്മൾ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഭാഷയിൽ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത് പ്രവൃത്തി കൂടുതൽ പ്രാധാന്യമുള്ളതാകുമ്പോൾ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആർക്ക് എന്ത് സംഭവിക്കപ്പെടുന്നു ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്കല്ല പ്രാധാന്യം. The subject or the doer of the action is not important. The action can be important. Hydrogen peroxide is prepared. Sulfuric acid is prepared. Okay. The novel is written. The luggage has been unloaded. Okay. By whom is not important, but the action is important. That is then again the recipient or the object is important. That is one of the reasons. അതാണ് പ്രധാനം. രണ്ടാമത്തെ കാര്യം എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, പ്രധാനമായിട്ട് നമുക്ക് പാസീവ് വോയിസിലേക്ക് മാറ്റുമ്പോൾ ആ ഒരു പാസീവ് കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ നടക്കണമെങ്കിൽ നമുക്കൊരു ഓക്സിലറി വേർബ് ആവശ്യമാണ്. അതിന് നമ്മൾ ബി എന്നുള്ള ആ ഓക്സിലറി വേർബിന്റെ വിവിധ രൂപങ്ങൾ, വിവിധ ഫോംസ്, അത് സിംഗുലർ ആയിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ഫോം, പ്രസന്റ് ടെൻസ് ആയിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ഫോം, പാസ്റ്റ് ടെൻസ് ആയിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ഫോമുകൾ. ഉദാഹരണത്തിന് പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ബിയുടെ സിംഗുലർ ഫോം ആണ് ആം പ്ലസ് ഈസ്, പ്ലൂറൽ ഫോമാണ് ആർ പ്രസന്റ് ടെൻസ്. ഓക്കെ. പാസ്റ്റ് ടെൻസ് ആകുമ്പോൾ സിംഗുലർ വാസ്, പ്ലൂറൽ വേർ. അതേപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മൾ ഹാവ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഹാസിന്റെ മറ്റു രൂപങ്ങൾ കൂടി നമ്മൾ പെർഫെക്റ്റ് ടെൻസിൽ വരുമ്പോൾ ഉപയോഗിക്കും. പിന്നെ പ്രധാനമായിട്ട് ഓർക്കേണ്ടത് വേർബിന്റെ മൂന്നാമത്തെ ഫോം ആണ് പാസീവ് കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ വരിക, അതായത് പാസ്റ്റ് പാർട്ടിസിപ്പിൾ ഫോം. ഇത്രയും കാര്യങ്ങൾ അറിഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് വളരെ എളുപ്പത്തിൽ ആക്റ്റീവ് വോയിസിൽ നിന്ന് പാസീവ് വോയിസിലേക്ക് മാറ്റാനായിട്ട് കഴിയും. പക്ഷേ നല്ലപോലെ പ്രാക്ടീസ് ആവശ്യമാണ്, കുറേ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യേണ്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നു. ലെറ്റ്സ് കം ടു ദി ടെക്സ്റ്റ്. വി ആർ പേജ് നമ്പർ 92. Check the table below. Here are some examples of passive voice with many of the possible forms using the verb drive. Present tense simple, are, is driven. Okay. Present tense simple, we use the form of be, am or are. If it is I, you would say am. If it's you would say are, and singular you use is driven. Then continuous am or are or is being driven. Then perfect have or has been driven. Past tense was or were driven. Then past continuous was, were being driven. Perfect had been driven. Future will be driven, will be being driven, will have been driven. Okay, now we have some examples here. Present simple, how does one pronounce his name? Active voice, how does one pronounce his name? How is his name pronounced? How is his name pronounced? Perfect present continuous, Sari is helping Tara. Sadi is helping Tara. Tara is being helped by Sadi. Present perfect. Shiva has served dinner. Dinner has been served. Past continuous. They were interrogating him when I called. He was being interrogated when I called. Past perfect. I wondered why they hadn't invited me. I wondered why I hadn't been invited. Future simple. They will hang him at dawn. He will be hanged at dawn. Future perfect. They will have repaired your car by 7 p.m. Your car will have been repaired by 7 p.m. Now we have some more examples here, like transformation of the questions into passive voice. How to transform. Now we have how examples here in the text about how we transform questions into passive voice. Say for example, we have the example, who wrote this letter? Who wrote this letter? Who wrote this letter? This is a question. So we have to, this is who wrote this letter, active voice. Okay. So how can you just change this to the passive voice? By whom was this? By whom was this letter written? By whom was this letter written? By whom was this letter written? Okay. Similarly, how are you doing this work? Is this work being done by you? Can anyone cure it? Can it be cured? Now we have imperative sentences like orders and requests. So changing imperatives, we have to use the word let in the beginning of the sentence. Say for example, you say, do the work. Let the work be done. Do the work. Do the work. Okay? Do the work. Let the work be done. Let the work be done. Let the work be done. Then we have some more. See, we have walk slowly. Walk slowly. You are advised to walk slowly. Please come here. You are requested to come here. Get out. You are ordered to get out. Now we have the exercises here in the text. Let us do the exercises. That is transforming sentences from active voice to the passive voice and from passive voice to the active voice. So the first one is, they have vacated the office. They have changed the following sentences into passive form. They have vacated the office. The office has been vacated. The office has been vacated. Okay? They have vacated the office. They is the subject. Have is the auxiliary. It is have because they is plural. They have vacated the office. The office is the object. The office has been. Office is singular, so has been vacated. So if we require, we can write by them. Not necessary. Okay. And number 2. Rahim took the brown chocolate. Rahim, subject, took, verb, past tense, the brown chocolate, object. The brown chocolate, the brown chocolate, was taken by Rahim. The brown chocolate was taken by Rahim. Now the third one. Harris will sell old furniture. Harris will sell old furniture. Harris is the subject. Will sell is the verb future. Old furniture is the object. So it would be old furniture. Old furniture will be sold. Will be. Old furniture will be sold. Old furniture will be sold by Harris. Will be sold by Harris. Old furniture will be sold by Harris. Number 4. She was making a solution. She was making. She is the subject. Was making is past continuous. A solution is the object. A solution was being. Continuity is shown with being. The solution was being made by her. Made by her. Made by her. Okay, a solution was being made by her. Now the fifth one. Rajani sends articles to journals. Rajani is the subject. Sends is the verb simple present. Articles is the object, right? So articles are sent. Articles plural are sent. Articles are sent to journals. Are sent to journals by Rajani. By Rajani. Articles are sent to journals by Rajani. Number 5. Number 6. They have chosen the leader. They have chosen. They subject. Have chosen is the verb that is present perfect. The leader. The leader is singular. So it will be the leader has been. The leader has been chosen by them. Chosen by them. Okay, so we have completed the 6 exercises in page number 94 and 95. Now we have to come to the second section. Change the following sentence into active form. The field is being plowed by the farmer. The field is being continuous, present continuous. The farmer is plowing the field. The farmer is plowing the field. The farmer is plowing the field. The farmer subject is plowing verb, field object. The farmer is plowing the field. The field is being plowed by the farmer. Number 2, fruits are being picked by them. Again, present continuous. The fruits are being picked by them. They are picking fruits. Number 2, they are picking fruits. They are picking fruits. They are picking fruits. Subject, verb, object. They are picking fruits. Number 3. Will the letters be delivered by the postman? Will the letters be delivered by the postman? Will the postman deliver the letters? Will the postman deliver the letters? Will the postman deliver the letters? Number 4. English was taught to us by him. English was taught to us by him. He taught us English. 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 Okay? Taught us English. That is direct object, indirect object. Now the fifth one. All the cakes have been eaten by the children. All the cakes have been eaten by the children. The children have eaten all the cakes. The children have eaten all the cakes. The children have eaten all the cakes. Subject, verb, object. Now the next one, the sixth one. Has this letter been written by Ashok? Has Ashok written this letter? Has Ashok written this? Has Ashok written this letter? Has Ashok written this letter? The third exercise, the exhibition was complete following using the appropriate form of the verb. Complete following using the appropriate form of the verb. The exhibition dash declared open. So the exhibition was declared open. The exhibition was declared open by the Chief Minister. The doors were open to the public. Were opened to the public only after 6 o'clock. Various beautiful exhibits were displayed. In various stalls. The Khadi board stall was adjudged the best. The second section, this is A section. Now B section. It dash believe that our new campsite is very rare and precious. It is believed that it is situated. Then it is said that. So we have done all the exercises in the textbook right now. Now I'm just giving you 7 examples in active and passive, so that of course we understand the very verb pattern of the sentences in different kinds of forms. So let us look at some of the examples. I'm just giving you very simple example like I write a letter. I write a letter. This is simple present. I write a letter. And this is active voice. Now we have the passive voice here. A letter is written. A letter is written by me. Okay. Now we have present continuous. I am writing a letter. I am writing a letter. When we change present continuous into the passive voice, it will be a letter is being written by me. Okay, a letter is being written by me. So I'm just giving you this to help you understand the very verb pattern. Simple present, present continuous, and present perfect. I have written a I have written a letter. I have written a letter. It is easy. A letter is singular, so it will be a letter has been. A letter has been written by me. A letter has been written by me. Okay. Now we have present perfect continuous, but we don't use that in the passive voice. And now we come to simple past. Simple past is I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter will become a letter was written by me. A letter was written by me. Okay, was written. Now past continues. I was writing a letter. I was writing a letter will become a letter was being written. A letter was being written by me. A letter was being written by me. And you have past perfect right now. Past perfect. Past perfect. Okay? That is I had written a small t, a letter. I had written a letter will become a letter had been. A letter had been written. A letter had been written by me. A letter had been written. Had been written. Okay, and past perfect continuous we do not use in the passive. Very rare occasions we use that, and we don't have to worry. Now we will look at simple future. Simple future. I will write a letter. I will write a letter. Will write a letter. And it would be passive voice. A letter will be. A letter will be written. A letter will be written by me. I will write a letter. A letter will be written by me. And now your future continues, not often used, but still. I will be writing. I will be writing a letter. I will be writing a letter. Will be writing a letter. A letter will be being. A letter will be being written by me. Written by me. Not often written like this, but this is the structure. A letter will be being written by me. Then future perfect, not often used, still. I will have written. Hypothetical situation again. I will have written a letter. And we do not have the passive structure often, but if at all we have to change how, that is, a letter will have been written by. A letter will have been written by me. Alright. And future perfect continuous not used in active, not used in passive, very rare. Okay, so today in this lecture, 14th lecture in the series of lectures on A02, we discussed the active voice and the passive voice. We studied how to transform the sentences in the active voice to the passive voice. We have done all the exercises in the textbook, and we studied the context of changing the passive, using the passive voice, and we know the word order, the very form of the auxiliary verbs and the verbs in the active as well as the passive, and now with more practice you can of course transform sentences in the active voice to the passive and passive voice to the active, right? So everybody take grammar books, especially the Randall Martin, the grammar book edited by Randall Martin is very useful, and transform sentences from active voice to the passive voice, similarly from passive voice to the active voice. ഇപ്പോൾ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട നിയമങ്ങളെല്ലാം പഠിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് ടെക്സ്റ്റിൽ ഉള്ള ഉദാഹരണങ്ങൾ എക്സസൈസുകളെല്ലാം ചെയ്യുക. കൂടുതൽ നിങ്ങൾ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് വായിക്കുക. ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് വായിക്കുമ്പോൾ കാണുന്ന ആക്റ്റീവ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ, സബ്ജക്റ്റും വേർബും ഒബ്ജക്റ്റും ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അത് ഏത് ടെൻസ് ആണെന്ന് നോക്കിയിട്ട് അതിനെ നമുക്ക് പാസീവായിട്ട് മാറ്റാനായിട്ട് ശ്രമിക്കുക. അങ്ങനെ നിരന്തരം ശ്രമിച്ച് വായിച്ച് എഴുതി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇതിന് നല്ല ഒരു അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡിങ് കിട്ടുന്നതായിരിക്കും. വളരെ കൃത്യമായിട്ട് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് കഴിയും. Thank you very much for listening. Take care everybody. May God bless you.